Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How many of you play LOTRO? That's a good number. And how many of you that play LOTRO have finished Volume 1 of the epic story? All right, that's a fair number there. How many of you actually stayed for last night's marathon? Yes. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through that. You know that story by now. This is a retelling of Volume 1 of the epic story, which is the main storyline that goes all the way through. Volume 1 is set in Eriador. Then we have Volume 2, which is in Enenwythe and Dunlin and Rohan. No, Volume 2 is Moria and Mirkwood. Volume 3 is Enenwythe, Dunlin. It's too early in the day. and Rohan. And then Volume 4 is in Gondor and in Mordor. I have written this story, going all the way through, for all 4 volumes, but they told me I only had 30 minutes. Therefore, I'm only going to read you Volume 1 of the LOTRO epic story in alliterative verse. Volume 1, Shadows of Angmar. Introduction, Archit. The black-robed brigands brought me to a cell, till Amdir's blade brought them down. Then we freed 2 hobbits that were held by the thugs, but Amdir fell to a festering wound. We were now free to fly from the jail and plot a path to Archit. Yet danger pursued in deadly strides, for ruin was ready to strike. In Archit, Caldor Cobb had a plan to betray the town that trusted him. He invited Angren, invaders most foul, to burn down Archit in Breeland Fair. We faced the fire, we felled the traitor, yet still the blaze did burn. Archit was ashes, and Amdir was taken, so little hope was left. We buried the dead from the Black-Wold raid, then searched the land for the lost ranger. We found him locked in a fragile cell that he bashed and banged till he broke it down. In his rage he swore that the rangers would die. Torridon he tore with a terrible blow. Moondal he mauled in a mid-water cave. Zinrelian he ripped with rapid strikes. How can we halt the hatred of Amdir, the wrecked ranger of Archit? One Strider we must seek, if we're to stalk our foe and bring hope back to Bree. Book 1, Stirrings in the Darkness. With Strider we sought to strike a blow at the black-robed brigands that burned our lands. They're a dreadful dwarf, most deadly we found, one Scorbrim Dourhand, the scourge of the blue. Nastier than the dwarf were the Nazgul most fell, who cloaked Amdir as a Kargul in red. We rendered Amdir the rest he deserved, to break the back of the black-wold horde. We sought the servants of Sauron the Dark, but found the flock of feathered spies. Our foes did fly to the forest old, where for time untold, old Tom did dwell. Tom sent us to search in the sickened barrows, where we found our foe, the foulest of raids. There the King of Death, with dour hand grim, met Ivar the Gaunt, master of death. We pursued the 3 that sought our doom in a great twisty maze of tombs and death. We lost our foes and feared to be trapped till Tom Bombadil tore through the grave. The barrows cracked and Bree saved. We drove off dread and darkness. Not to lonely lands we looked to travel, to stem the stench of Sauron. Book 2, The Red Maid. We headed to lands lonely and dry, and found their candidate at a camp near a hill. The hill's called Weathertop, a most windy peak, from where you can see for several leagues. He sent us to slay several orcs who sought to storm the summit of the winds. Yet more did come who moved to the height till we slew a troll to send them away. To brown Radagast we rode in haste and found him worried about wights in the swamp. Their gaunt men grew a grave-born army that reached to restore the red main. Deeper we delved into the dim shadows where nature cringed from nauseous fumes. The trees were turned into terrible foes while wights did watch the way we sought. We found our foe, the fell Ivar, the bloody hand of the bog. Ivar and wizard waged a battle till the Lord of the Gaunt did leave. Book 3, The Council of the North. Foremost did fall the forces from Angmar that now were near the Northdown homes. A council was called to quickly find a means to meet the massing foes. We called the dwarves who dwelt to the north, but they were harried by threatening foes. The dour hands dared to take Dory away till we raided that rabble to rescue him. We called the elves who cared for the south, their Gildor grieved for the glades wounding. To stop the orcs, we stalked their head till we dealt out death to Drukoth the Foul. We called the men mustered at the bridge, who fought the orcs at a frequent rate. Yet tribes unknown to Trestle Bridge did come until we encountered them. We aided all the allied folk, so to council did they come. Can we stop the stranglehold of Angmar, our ancient foe? Book 4, Chasing Shadows. The 9 Nazgul nearly won the ring of Sauron that rules them all. But the rays were washed by the waters of the ford back to their master in Mordor dark. Yet one escaped the avalanche to sow the seeds of sinister plots. We sought to find the fiend of darkness that was loosed to wreck the lands near Elrond. In the hills we found his horse long dead, so we knew the Nazgul was near at hand. We searched 3 caves, but came with naught. So we asked an Ent that proved angry and hasty. From Prince Legolas we learned that the Ent was truly a troll that trampled the wood. The Nazgul we found, but he fled away as we killed the troll that was king of the rest. We foiled the plot to foul the shawls. The treacherous troll is dead. But the Nazgul fled, so now we must resume our search for him. Book 5, The Last Refuge. Nowhere near us was the Nazgul we sought, so to the misty mountains we made our way. We asked Ode Glowing to guess the place where the Shadow's servant did sit in wait. We searched the goblins to gain some news, but all we found was a foul dour hand. We sought the key to the keep where they hid, and found Skorgrim the Cruel, a creature most fell. When Skorgrim we slew, we could scarcely pause, for a spirit of spite sped from his corpse. We had to head to Heligrod to learn what lay to unleash a scheme. There Drugoth, Deathmonger, a dragon did wake, with spirits most fell from the fortress of Angmar. Yet he could not keep the crafty drake, so it flew away into the fog and night. We now could face the Nazgul we sought and send the wraith from our sight. Out from the mountains to Mordor it fled, to leave our lands at last. Book 6, terrible heart. From Hellegrod, we headed north to the evil land of Angmar the Cruel. Their coroner recalled a time when he failed to cross a most fearful line. We were sent to learn the secret held by the statues that stirred a most striking fear. We learned of hearts that held the fear, but the first was finished, faded, and powerless. The heart that was whole was held by Toth, a sorcerer of Angmar that served the vile. When he was dead, a dangerous spirit was found to fuel the fearful heart. We fought the spirit and found the way to cross the cruelest line. To the east we went, into evil lands, to find the fate of friends. Book 7, The Key to Death. From Lorniel we learn of the loss of her sire, as her father was kept by the forces of ill. A key to Carndun we must craft at once, so that we could look for her lost father. The gates are large, so the locks need a key that is stronger and sturdier than steel or brass. From mithril and a mold we can make this key, with a hammer that's held in the halls of Skordred. With Lorniel we went to unlock the gate. There she searched the slain for the sire she lost. We fought off trolls and tried to reach the very door of the vile stronghold. Mordorith then made a malicious entry, with Guladir dragged in the dirt. Then Lorniel he slew with a slice so cruel, to leave Guladir with guilt and grief. Book 8, Scourge of the North. With Lorniel's loss, Laridan advised that we find the arms filched from Guladir. 3 ambassadors we brought to an end to take back his shield, mail shirt, and sword. Ere we gave the gear to Guladir we had to repair the damage that was placed on it. We searched for smiths to smooth the dents and reshape the sword to be sharp and true. Then back to Carndun, the blight of the north, we returned to tear our terrible foe. Then Guladir drove Dunachar home to send Mordorith to Mordor the Dark. The scourge of the north to the nether has gone, and hope we hold once more. But the Palantir was lost, as a lady quite old did steal it from its stand. Book 9, The Shores of Ivendell. Oakheart did steal the Stone of Sight that was kept by Mordorith, the malevolent lord. We traced her path through perilous ruins, where she unmasked herself as a Marthiel the Dark. 3 men of Mordorith were to march to her aid, but we found them first to finish their plots. Then we followed our foe with fervent strides to Lake Ivendell and lost Annuminas. She seeks to find her severed ring, to regain her glory of old. Can we find a way to free the stone before the hidden finds her hand? Book 10, The City of Kings. In lost Annuminas, she nurtured a plan to find the ring of fell power. Before we could look for the Palantir stone, we needed to take the town from our foe. She sought to seal a savage deal with the cruelest folk we faced near the shore. They pressed an attack to purge our friends from the city of kings and leave sad memories. While we stopped the foes, it stalled our hunt, and a Marthiel made the most of that time. Yet we found a means that could foil her hopes and let us steal the Stone of Sight. We fought our foe and found the stone, so we took the terrible tool. Yet Laridan was lost as we left the place where Marthiel made her plans. Book 11, Prisoner of the Free Peoples. Mordrembor was a man of malice and spite, whom we captured and kept with less care than needed. He tore from his cell in Tenidir Keep and killed the guards that kept him there. We mourned those lost by laying out stones, then learned the road the ravagers did take. We followed them east to the ford of Bruinen to search the land for the sign of the ring. We found a book buried in rubble that spoke of keys that were kept hidden. When we unlocked the door to Delisad we went, where Narmelith was kept from the knowledge of the wise. We learned the truth of the troubles we had when Lérden did hide his love. His daughter he kept in Delisad away to evade the vengeance of the elves. Book 12, The Ashen Waste. We returned to the city on the south of the lake to look for a place where Lérden was held. We learned he was moved to the land of dread, so to Angmar we rode into the Ashen Waste. We stole a key kept by a troll, then rescued Lérden, who languished in a cell. We learned of the ring and raided its home, but only half was stored in the stash of the keep. The ring had been split to spite our foes, so our quest we cannot quit. To Fort Hale we go, into the frozen wastes, to trace the terrible ring. Book 13, Frigid Forhale. Frigid Forhale was the frozen waste was a place where ice paralyzed the ground. We spoke with Lossi of the Losoth race to learn what news would to Narquil lead. They named 3 tasks to test our skill, our strength in battle, our stamina to survive, and finally our wisdom to find the way that's true. Mastering these prepared us to face Mordrembor's wrath. From a seer named Saya we sought advice that led to a ship that was shattered in ice. There Arvedui, the king that left vacant a throne, haunted the shore of the shivering bay. We followed the trail to a frozen cave where an elf had sheltered after a ship's demise. Yet Angmar's agents were able to stay a step ahead in our hopeless quest. We found our foe on a floor of ice as Saya the seer transformed. A Marthiel she became, and Mordrembor she fought as we plucked the precious Narquil. Book 14, The Ring Forges of Eregion. We have the ring that was riven in two, which must be melted in the moldering forges. Before we went to the west, we were sent to prepare the road to the ring forges. Yet this was a trick to make us travel far, so Lérden could leave alone to the south. He sought to repair the powerful ring in hopes to restore his estranged daughter. We sought to learn the lore of the rings and found that its fires of the forge would need the bellows of old to breathe on the flames and a tool to shape the terrible ring. A step behind, we stayed in our quest, and Angmar was first to find the tools. We then headed south to the heart of the forges to stop a Marthiel from making the ring. We fought through the forges and found at the heart that a Marthiel remade her malevolent ring. Yet just as she raised a jubilant shout, Mordorith returned as the master of the North. Mordorith was strong and struck down his rival, and the ring was ripped from her hand. Lérden was killed, a loss that freed Narmelin from the need of Narquil. Book 15, Daughter of Strife. Amarthya was freed from the mastering ring and was named once more Narmalith the elf. Yet what could we do, and where could we go, to save the land from lasting evil? One hope remained, to heal the north and drive out the darkness that dwelt in Angmar. We thus retrieved the trusty blade that stabbed the wraith on the stairs of the keep. Yet first we found at a fiery lake Mordrembor, who kept the cruel ring. When we fell our foe, Narn flung the ring into the pool of fire to free her mind. Yet Mordorith remained in the maze of fear, so deeper we went to defeat the wraith. He summoned the visions of Sarah and more to make us despair with madness and grief. Our strength did stand, and we stilled the visions, so our foe did come to fight our group. Then when all seemed lost, Lairdin's daughter spent her strength to strike the blow. Our foe is defeated, and the foulness cleansed. The rule of iron is ended, yet a price must be paid to purge the filth. So Narmlet's spirit was spent. And that's how we saved Eriador.
We have 8 minutes for Q&A.
Do we have any questions or comments?
I don't know what we would ask.
What class were you? What class were you?
What class? Oh, in this. That's usually when I play through the entire sequence, I have played it on a Warden probably at least twice. I've gone through it on the Warden. I've gone through it on the Bjorning, through the Lore Master. I believe I did this thinking of a Lore Master because the first time when I was first thinking of doing this poem, back around the release of Mirkwood time, I was doing this going through the point of view of it was either a captain or a lore master. But I don't think I've ever finished it through a captain. And that was several years ago. And I think the first beginnings of that I did in Rhine verse on it. About 3 years ago, I just decided to start from scratch on it. I did go through still of course the Race of Man version as you see there. And I think I was thinking of a lore master there when I did it at that time. So I believe that's around when I started doing my series using the lore master. Yes?
So as you played through and went through Volume 1, what do you think was sort of the most interesting or or your favorite sort of plot development as they picked up elements of the book story and put it into that form, that spot, this plot line?
That's always a tricky because some of my favorite starts, of course, are Volume 2, but Volume 1, probably how were they able to, because let's face it, it's called The Lord of the Rings Online, so if you didn't have a ring involved in here somewhere, in Volume 1 you almost have a mini story of what's going on in the overall plot of the entire thing, because you start out with rumors and all that stuff which you have going on in there. And of course you end it with the destruction of a ring. Except of course in this case you also have the reforging of a ring before the destruction of it. So you go through a full series of cycles in there. So how they wove together, getting a ring plot in there, having one of these lesser rings come through there, and threading that through and having its own story. At the same time, you're not having to worry about, oh, okay, you run into the people from the main plot, but it's an independent story from there. Now, I was wondering, some of you may have wondered why I did not introduce Strider until Book 1. I don't know how many of you have played the original version of the introduction, but when they first did the introduction, You didn't meet Strider till volume. Strider was not part of the introduction. They decided later to add him into the introduction. And I decided to keep with the old version, even though when I started this, they had already introduced the current version that's out there. Any other questions? Yes?
Any way I could read the rest of the stuff, the rest of the thing?
The rest of the thing is, I do have a copy of it on LOTRO players right now. I have recently made a couple of changes to this from the version that's on there, so I'll be doing a few edits over the next week and then reposting. Reposting, and I'll repost the entire thing, which include all 4 volumes on it. And you can find this at LOTRO players, LOTROplayers.com.
Yeah, thanks.
Anything else?
I just wanted to say that was really cool. I have played the intro sequence to LOTRO and that's it.
Okay.
So like I don't know, my favorite was book 14.
Okay. Book 14, Reforging of the Ring. Yes.